Hi, this is Gary with MACMOST.com. Let's take a look at the top 10 new features in macOS Sonoma. MACMOST is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 1,000 supporters. Go to macmost.com/Patreon. There you could read more about it, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. Now by my count there are more than 175 new features in macOS Sonoma. But here are the 10 that I think are the most important. First, we've got new desktop wallpapers. Or is it screensavers? Well, Apple sometimes calls it one, sometimes the other. And they are kind of linked now. So when you go to System Settings, you can see Wallpaper and Screensaver. And notice that you can have a screensaver show as wallpaper and a wallpaper show as screensaver. The new ones, the ones everyone's talking about, are these aerial views here. High resolution videos you'll find familiar if you have an Apple TV. So if you select one of these, then it looks like this as your wallpaper or screensaver. So what happens is if you use one of these, notice here as a screensaver it's moving. You're moving through the landscape. But if you exit the screensaver it slows down and stops at a point, and that's now your wallpaper. Which is really interesting because now you've got a slightly different wallpaper each time you wake your Mac up. As a matter of fact, you can use these animations here, like the Sonoma one, in the same way. So here this is going to animate, and now when I come out of the screensaver it will stop and I have a slightly different wallpaper than any other time. I think probably the most useful new feature is going to be the desktop widgets. So we've had widgets before in the notification center, of course, but now you could actually add the same widgets to your desktop. So I can drag one, like let's say, let's drag the weather here. Let's add another one like say reminders. And you can now have these on your desktop whenever you want. You can move them around. They kind of snap into place. They coexist with the ones in Notification Center. And if you bring up another window they'll fade to the background. Although you have a setting in System Settings that allow you to keep them as full color. They're even interactive. So for instance in Reminders here I can actually click on one of the items to complete it. You could even use iPhone widgets on your Mac desktop and Notification Center. As long as your iPhone, of course, is using the same Apple ID and it's nearby, you could have the widget from your iPhone appear on your Mac. You don't even have to have that app installed. It's actually taking that exact widget from your iPhone and just showing it on your Mac. So your iPhone's producing the widget and your Mac is actually displaying it. Now there's a couple new tricks in Safari that are really interesting. One is that you can now have multiple profiles. So we go into Safari Settings, we go to Profiles here, and you could start using profiles, create a new one. So I'll call this one called Work Social, and I can set a symbol for it and a color and whether or not it uses the same bookmarks. And now I've got two windows here. One is in my personal profile and one's in my work social profile. So I could be logged into different sites for both of those. So this one could be my personal social media accounts and this is my work social media accounts. Or you could do the same for shopping or anything else that you need to log into. It's kind of like having a private browsing window, but instead of it going away completely when you close the window, you could simply open up a new window and resume where you left off. It's like having two or more versions of Safari running at the same time. In addition to that, you really can have more versions of Safari running using something called web apps. Now web apps have been available in other browsers for a long time, but it's nice to have them in Safari. So for instance I could go to a website like this one and I go to File and then Add to Dock, and then I could change the name, the icon, and everything, add it. You can see it's now in the dock there, so I can quit Safari and I could launch it from the dock, and now it's an app that has the name of that site, and the app is just a Safari browser but only for this website and any related websites. If I click on a link to some other site it will open up in Safari like you're clicking on a link in say an email or in a document. Now in Preview you've got your markup tools just like before, but you now have a separate set of tools for filling in forms. So if all you want to do is fill in a form, you just use this instead. It shows you all the fields that you could fill in, provided of course the PDF has been created with those fields in it. And you can fill them in. You can even check boxes. And you can use a few other tools here like signing. And you can even add your own text fields in case maybe there's some spot you want to write something where there's no field provided. In the Notes app there's the ability now to link from note to note. So I can create a new note here, and if I wanted to create a link to another note I can go to Edit and then Add Link or Command K. Then I could link to and just start typing the name of a note to select it, and then I now have a link to that note. There's even shorthand for doing this. You just do the greater than symbol twice like that, and you can pick from a list of notes to link to. So you can link back and forth in Notes, even creating your own little personal wikis in the Notes app. The Reminders app also has some new tricks. So if you create a new list here you can now add sections to that list. So I'll just add some items here, and I can use this button here to add new sections. So I'll just use some test names here. I'll add another section, and I could easily add items in there or move my existing items to sections. In addition to that, if you were to create a new list and make it of the type groceries, this type of list allows you to add typical grocery items and will automatically create sections for them. So you can see what it did there. It just created that section, creates another section, and so on. And you can rearrange sections pretty easily as well. In the Photos app, People is now People and Pets, or at least it is if you've added a pet as a person. It now accepts the faces of dogs and cats to be able to add them to your People and Pets section. So you would just go into your library here, find a picture that has one of your best friends in it, and you could easily add them just as you would any person from before. So now I'll find that picture added there, and you can go and review more photos. So you can add your pets just like people to this section now. When typing now you're going to notice a new type of suggestion. Inline suggestions. So as you type something, watch as I see the little gray text appear and then simply press the space bar to move on to the next word without having to complete typing it. Sometimes it just suggests finishing your current word, but other times it may suggest 2 or even 3 words in advance. Now there are a whole bunch of new features that you can use when video conferencing. These will work in FaceTime but also some other apps as well like Zoom. So for instance here I'm FaceTiming with somebody and I can go up here to the top. Then there's a whole little set of controls I can use. For instance, I can access studio lighting or not and adjust it. I can do reactions like this. And I could also share my screen. I can actually share a window, all the windows of an app, or the whole screen. So I can choose just a window, and I'll choose this Safari window here. And once I do, I can now choose from presenter overlay being off, so they just see my screen. And you see the preview right there. I can do small, and you can see I'm in the bottom left-hand corner. It even shows that here on my screen. This is what the other person will see. I can also choose large. And I'll see this preview here where it shows whatever it is I'm sharing behind me and I'm simply in front. So this is really great. Say if you've got a keynote presentation that you're running, you can be in front of it like that. So there's a look at some of the best new features you'll be able to use as soon as you update your Mac to macOS Sonoma. I'll be looking in more detail at some of these and covering other new features as well in future video tutorials. Hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, click the thumbs up button below to let me know. I publish new tutorials each weekday. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out.